What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. 7 o'clock Central, be here sharp. It is going to be Market Man's birthday bash stream. Also on Twitch, Zodiac_Duelist, or here on YouTube. Show up, say hi, have a good time. That being said, let's get into today's Market Watch. It has been a blessing and a curse, blurst, in order to have these price data charts. How could that be bad? All data is good, John. It hurts my soul to see a sale of Phoenix Blade at $75.85. We stumbled on this on stream when we were talking about the most expensive rares of all times. Summoners art being up there in the meta games, the rare, Doom Lord from the Dark Revelations, but this is a crazy sale point. And I put this in Zodiac, and I heard some horror stories of vendors who put things as placeholders to price later, so they just put it where they thought it wouldn't sell, and people sold like Celestia ultis for $270. Guys, higher price doesn't mean you're shipping it off to PSA necessarily. This actually hurts to see. That being said, let's get into today's Market Watch with 2021 Megatins and the sets inside. We talked a bit about the 2022 tins yesterday and how Burst of Destiny should be the last set in there unless Konami does something crazy. Well, with these tins, it's very interesting to speculate what the and more is, especially with Gold Series coming up, seeming to be El Dorado, maybe Eldritch themed. But when we talk about the sets inside, it's very weird because the reprints are in 2 months, yet you have the most hype OTS pack of all time to play for, and people are going, well, should I sell this out of my deck? Should I get rid of this? Oh, I'm gonna theorize that this is going to miss the tins. Let me tell you, when you theorize something missing the tins because it's had a reprint or it is or isn't there, you can boast your chest and beat it all you want and brag about how you were right later on that one thing that missed, while 36 other people call something else and they're all wrong. It happens, and you're probably gonna make some wrong calls along with your right ones, like, will Lightning Storm miss the tins, or will it get the extravagance, treatment? We don't necessarily know at this moment if it will, or Forbidden Droplet, but at that same juncture, if you have it extra in your binder, yes, I would be immediately selling. If it does miss, you can get a spike, but the likelihood it misses versus doesn't, that's a huge difference in how things can actually turn out. When we look at last year's Megatins, and they threw the kitchen sink in, despite reprints coming in Gold Series, despite reprints ahead of time. Like, we had Phantasme double reprinted, Sign Up Mining double reprinted, we had Apollosa double reprinted, everything got double reprints last year. So will they follow that model, or really milk some of these? We don't necessarily know, but I wouldn't bet against reprint. Stuff like Rose being at 40, I find ridiculously priced right now, but Sky Strikers are pretty darn hyped in this metagame, and they're topping at a pretty good number of them. You have Island and the Adignisters doing better than ever, and this could still be the highest rarity version, almost more likely to be the highest rarity version of it, so it does have some future-proofing value, but it still will probably go down when there's an alternative version of it. Then you get to Eternity Code, Access Code Talkers at one of its all-time highs. A lot of people need this in order to play Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and as a win con in a lot of decks, I understand its pricing, but stuff like Gravedigger Trap Hole, where Trap Tricks are like, alright, I'm gonna rely on it, I don't want the Ultra or the Super. Remember, Trap Trick, its price actually retained. I could see this over time rebounding if you don't bother moving it, but still, the active vendor in me who likes the hard work, who likes to save money and then get it back later cheaper, says sell it in my head unless you're using it for tournaments. If it's sitting there, you're not using it, personally, I would say sell on a lot of these things. Not a financial advisor channel. I can't see the future. I don't have time traveling info brokers. I don't know what will miss the Megatins, but in general, very, very, very little misses the tins. Like, I can easily see Ice Dragon's Prison getting a secret rare upgrade in those tins and looking amazing. I could see Droplet getting double, triple, whatever reprinted into the ground as Konami sells it, looking at this price barely having bounded down. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Oh, Dragon Link's still alive and has future support. Weird. It suddenly spiked back up, and its reprint is likely to be lower rarity, yet that rarity should bring this price down to where you can still get the secret cheaper later. Now, will people want to just let go of their cards? It takes some time with reprints in general. And then Phantom Rage being the last set, Zeus has so much utility. Tri-Brigade is an excellent engine. VW is an excellent engine that's spiking due to the YCS lately, but people are buying into these cards. Time equals money. You only have 2 months versus the actual reprints being out out there, and that means reprints, announcements, leaks, and other things will be even sooner as they are happening. So keep that in mind with extra cards you may have, but if you're, playing it in your deck, you think you have a good chance at OTS packs, then I understand why you would be playing for one of the most hyped prizes of all time at locals. I definitely do understand that value as well. Let's talk about some upcoming things. We don't have the Agent Structure deck confirmed, but the combos are pretty crazy. I would definitely consider getting Super Agent of Creation Venus sooner than later. Why? Even if it gets pieced out into something else, with the Agent of Creation Venus, this is its only holo foil form. Every other version is common or rare. If it ended up in a structure deck, it would still be probably common or rare. The only way it would get a holo upgrade is if they piece this up into like a March reprint set again or something. Same with Agent of Mystery Earth. It's only going to have its one super rare out of the structure deck. Even if it gets reprinted, it'll probably be common if they do another structure. But again, who knows with Konami, right? Where could the Utopia structure deck be? Agent structure deck be? Your guess is as good as mine. Also, Christia has very few printings. I noticed a lot of people splashing this into their kinds of builds or decks or combo abilities. Do keep that in mind that the super rare out of Destiny Soldiers is actually pretty nice and pretty cheap for what it is. You also have the much more vintage 2011 collector's tins, but a lot of these had the foiling out of the tin problems, and so did those original secret rares. So I kind of actually like the Destiny Soldier super rare for what it is, and the secret rare old school one is very expensive. Hope Harbinger's a number monster that I've noticed has gone down. I could see rank 8s coming back at sometimes. These are things I like to go over, are numbers and specific things in metagames. They hit that collectability and playability together, and this has really gone down over time. These used to be 18s, these used to be 6. Pretty good time to buy these if you're interested, and a card that could float back into a metagame. I could also see, though, Maximum Gold or something doing that too, so there are potential reprints on the horizon for it, but I still find it unlikely. Trap Trick Secret Rares, since we brought that up earlier, I was staring at these, and the first editions are around 23, which I actually think is down, quote-unquote, but then these are up from 12 a long time ago towards 16 and quickly climb towards 22 to 23 after Motivated Seller. So the first ads meet that at 24. And the reason I find this so interesting is Trap Trick has had multiple reprints, and despite that, you do have the max rarity of it standing strong. This is something new we have from these newer Megatins, starting with 2019, where the rarities start to change, and I'm really glad Konami has done it, and this exemplifies why maybe sometimes if you really plan to keep it super long term, why I find it okay that you wouldn't bother to move something. But again, the vendor in me screams, just get it cheaper and then it'll go back up if you want it at that time. I like to work for my money, but not everybody's in this hobby for that, of course, so I like to point both sides of that coin out to you guys. Harpy's Featherstorm Ultra Rare is really interesting to me because it's about the same price as the Super. It does show how the Dual Saga Rarity is divisive. Like, whenever I bring up Dual Saga Rarity, people come in the comment section like, no, everybody loves it, John. I don't know what you're talking about. Good old broken TCG player. Whenever you click on the set, sometimes it just doesn't go to the set or even loads the set, then does this. Very great for my content. But with Harpy's Featherstorm in Dual Saga, it just does show that people sometimes don't go towards that rarity if they're playing or with the version they want. But Dual Saga itself has been doing extremely well. Also, speaking of a monster that goes along with it, Penny Stonk-esque, I know I've put it multiple times, I wanted to create a different conversation about Penny Stonks and how they don't always pan out. This is what I've suggested multiple times. It has that playability factor. It's appeared in metagames. It's appeared in so many rogue decks. But Samorg just sits there under $1. This is the danger of penny stonks. They can seem great. Oh my gosh, they could go to $3, $4, $5, $6 from dollars to quarters, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily pan out. Like if you bought this at quarters and you make a sale at 75 cents, you're still putting a stamp on that envelope, which is why this shipping fee is there, of course. But like, realistically, it doesn't always pan out depending on where you got in or where you see its future. So keep both sides of penny stonks in mind. I may suggest them at times, but there's still that risk of holding on. Will it pan out? Will it get a reprint ahead of it? Will Dual Overload be unlimited printed, making even more of these out there? Do consider everything with penny stonks on that kind of a risk, even though it's less money than usual, because I know a lot of people tend to get stacks of them like this, making it a larger investment. That being said, thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. I'll see you tonight for the birthday stream. And what are you doing with your cards that could be reprinted in the Megatins? Are certain rarities ones you want to hold? What do you think are going to get awesome upgrades? What do you think's not going to get the treatment it deserves? Because I know there was a lot of that going around in the last Megatin, and a lot of missed opportunity for holo upgrades. And then, what do you think? I know this is a dangerous question, but what do you think they actually will miss? Because I think we'll get the kitchen sink treatment again, but something like Droplet could easily slide by, as it's already in Battles of Legend, to help sell the set being after the Megatins for the first time, and then you have Gold Series 2. Could Chamber miss and not get a double reprint? Like, it's very interesting, the conversation this year versus last, because Konami probably does want to milk some of these sets a little more, but I still wouldn't be throwing the darts at the dartboard and gambling when you have pretty much everything in these sets. I would be selling a lot.